nothing much left to be said now after that. But going around this exhibition, the one thing that came to my mind was the French saying that the more things change, the more they remain the same. And some of these cartoons which were drawn 100 years ago, 150 years ago, they still seem so relevant to whatever is happening today in the country. And that's remarkable. The first newspaper in India, or rather Asia, started in Bengal, in Calcutta, Tiki's Bengal Gazette. It ran from 1720 to 1722. So this was the 200th year of its demise. And an American scholar wrote a book on James Hickey, which came out a few months ago. I read reviews of this book in Telegraph. And because of that book, interest was revived in journalism in Bengal. So since newspapers started in Bengal, cartooning also started in Bengal. And that's a great gift. But as we just saw in the documentary, it has been a long tradition because the Kalighat Photochitras and watercolor chapbooks and their illustrations were the forerunners of newspaper cartoons. Because that was social cartooning, and that tradition continues. For example, Mario, I would say, is a successor to the Kalighat Photochitra tradition. And we see that here, many of the cartoons today, they are like the social commentary of the Kalighat Photochitras. And that's a very welcome thing that this exhibition brings to us how the art has evolved over the years. When I was a trustee of the Indian Foundation of the Arts, I used to say, because my interest is in Indian languages, that pay attention to Indian languages. And so, because of my repeated prodding, first the Bengali language project was taken up in Marathi, Kannada, Hindi, etc. It came up. And as part of the Bengali project, we financed the cartoon collection of Shubhendu Dasgupta. I think you would have
yes, we know.
met him and seen the collection.
Yes.
That collection is, I think, now being exhibited in the Victoria Memorial. That's one of the greatest collections of Bengali cartoons. And we get an idea of what it was or what it would be like from Bibek's collection. And Bibek, sitting in Bangalore, has done this much. That's remarkable. So, from all of us here. And as I said, Narendra ji, who has been the backbone and lifeline of this institution, thought it appropriate to showcase this collection here on the occasion of the 150th year of the first cartoon which was published here, you can see. So, there are other language cartoonists who have done very good work. I mean, there was Hindi bunch, there is the Marathi tradition, and many of you would have enjoyed Jaspal Bhatti's TV programs, Ulta Bhatta, etc. Very few people know that he started as a cartoonist for the Tribune. For many years he was the cartoonist of the Tribune and then changed over to television and film, etc. But that special, I should say, site or to see things from a different angle. That's what makes a cartoonist. Here, for example, you have Gaganendra Nath Tagore, who is Bhishma Pitama of cartoonists in India. And you heard in the documentary about him. He was also the father of Cubism in India. And in the Jagan Mohan Art Gallery in Mysore, you have a few of his Cubist works. You can sometimes, if you happen to go to Mysore, you can see those pictures there. I hope they have not been sold off, because one or two of the Ravi Verma paintings were sold off from the collection. But I guess they will still be there. And the incomparable Satyajit Ray and his father, Sukumar Rai, who are part of the Sukumar Rai, I should say, is the part of the collective consciousness of Bengal. Every Bengali child of our age would have grown up reading Abul Kabul. And there you have one of Ray's cartoons also. This tells you how the attitudes have changed over the year. That cartoon, for example, over there, of a modern woman, I was just explaining, this is the subject of a monograph also, because this cartoon represents a critique of the women who came out and took up jobs. Something like Ray's Mahanagar film, which many of you would have seen. Here, the woman who has taken up a job is shown in masculine dress with a masculine stride and an umbrella in hand going to work. And this is the way the traditionalists looked at the coming out of the women. So, as you study these cartoons over a period of time, you can also see how the society has changed over a period of time and how the attitudes have changed. That's why this exhibition is remarkable. And sir, thank you very much for giving us this pleasure. And Bibek, salute to your efforts.
Good morning, right? Time well spent. Two discoveries I made while coming for the celebration of the 150th year of Bengali cartoons and looking at these 130 wonderful collection which Bibek has made and gifted to us here. Is that two quick things I want to share with you which I discovered. I knew that Chiranjiv Singh spoke Bangla because he always, when he sees me, greets me in Bengali and we've known each other for years. But today I realized that he actually reads the Bangla script. Before I could read, he was reading out the script that was on it, and that was a discovery. That's something amazing. And also the second discovery was a young girl who I introduced myself to, and her parents, and I said, did your dad give you Abul Tabul? And yes, he did, and he's reading it out to her. Probably she's not reading Bengali, but she's enjoying Abul Tabul. So these were two lovely discoveries for me. Right at the top, I just want to say two things. One is that let's remember the cartoonists who have passed away during COVID, and there have been quite a few of them. I was asking Bibek if he had numbers, because I know journalists, over 300 to 400 have died in India during COVID while doing their work. Many cartoonists have also suffered. We didn't have the exact figure that they have, and so let's remember them and their families. The other is how many cartoonists have been bound in jail in the last 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years. That's another thing that, if you people love cartoons, please do follow that trajectory and see the fate of those who are putting these up. We are watching 19th century cartoons here, and we were saying as we were walking up that many of these works would have landed the author behind bars if it was done in present times. So I just wanted to say that be alert about these things. Don't read an item which says cartoon is jailed and flip to the next page. Please agitate about it. Please do something about it if you care for this whole art. So I don't agree with this theory, but they say that journalists are failed writers and cartoonists are failed painters. As I said at the top, I do not agree with that. And I'm also a bit hurt that the only cartoon on journalists there, but I accept it because I do see a lot of my colleagues actually have deteriorated to that last wagging of the tail. So it pains actually. It is not. I do not want to laugh. It really is very hurtful to think that media which we trusted and which we tried to wave the flag for is now large parts of that media, particularly in television, where I work, has become. I won't use those terms because again I will be found in jail. But you know what those terms are and what they have become, and the cartoon sadly depicts that. It's interesting how the themes run, as Chiranjiv Singh said, is run still the present day. So the themes of poverty, of patriarchy, of India's awful caste system, of misgovernance, all these themes that you have seen in these paintings, in these cartoons. They run till today. I mean, this one on cashless. You're asking us about cashless, the journalists. We've always been cashless. What are you talking about, So, I can't go through all of them, but they're just amazing. We really need to spend more time looking at each cartoon and what it is trying to say. It's just amazing, and you'll see the parallels that come up to the present day. And as we said, many of these authors would have been in jail. I think one cartoonist you said is still active. You were telling me, Bibek was a great Amol Chakraborty, who till this day is doing cartoons for TV, and his cartoons are there. And Bibek's cartoons are there if you have missed them, which he has done over there. I want to just touch on, as a feminist and as a woman who has been fighting against patriarchy. That's the last one that so he is actually critiquing the woman who has come out to work, right? And even in the expression of the woman clerk, he sort of trying to show the bottommost, he doesn't go to a woman who's at a and tries to, and so a lot of this was happening. So what was happening in early 19th century was you had cartoonists who were making fun of women because, so you have a cartoon where a woman is reading upper middle class or middle class woman is reading a book, and leisurely or having drinks with her friends or whatever, and her husband is slaving in the kitchen. So there's a sort of judgment being carried out that, hey, you woman, why are you doing this? Why are you having this moment of leisure and why are you making your husband? Anyway, as we know, Bengali women have always been the flag bearers in their homes with the famous, the key which I don't have. My husband, who's a Jain, said, you must wear a Bengali sari. I said, yeah, really, maybe get into this one. I said, maybe like a Christmas tree. But anyway, so I'm just saying that the chabi concept, how the Bengali woman throws the. So we've always reigned in our houses. So let it be that way. Whatever criticism they had of women coming out, that's all part of history now, right? And the thing is, the men have supported, the Bengali men have been very supportive of that. About poverty, caste, I've already touched on that. All that is so reminiscent of what is happening today. It is as bad, if not worse. India's poverty levels have gone up. There is no data to say anything. We've seen the suffering of migrants during the coronavirus. The first phase of coronavirus, the second phase was on healthcare not being available to anybody. So, contemporary stuff. We are going to see many more. We will see those, but I think I can already see that there's less and less cartooning on these. There is a chill factor that has come in journalism, among cartoonists, among filmmakers, that if you are not on the right side of the political spectrum, you could face an FIR, you could face getting into jail. And sorry, I am sort of taking this conversation from a delightful cartoonist to telling you what realities we are facing. So do watch out for these tendencies and do keep supporting cartoonists and journalists. Thank you so much.